Hello everyone, and welcome to Program Your Life. So, it's time to relax, unwind, and just enjoy 15 minutes of Dr. Wayne Dyer, where he talks about a lot of people are always trying to have this symptom of more. Instead of trying to achieve greatness, you always want just more. I want to get to the destination, but when I get to the destination, I'm not happy. I need to surmount it. I wanted $10,000. Now I don't feel good about it. Now I need to go 20,000, and I just need to go on this ever conquest to get more and more instead of enjoying when I'm going on the destination. So here's Dr. Wayne Dyer for 15 minutes, so you can just sit back, relax, enjoy Dr. Wayne Dyer, and feel some relaxed, soothing, and achieve your own greatness.
The topic, if there is such a thing, for today is choosing your own greatness, or being a no-limit person, taking charge of your own life. Something I really believe, that you are the sum total of all of the choices that you've made up until now. And anything about yourself or your life that you don't like, or isn't working, or isn't mobilizing you, is to be looked at in terms of, can I grow? Rather than, why did I do it, or isn't this wrong? See, the two ways to motivate yourself are deficiency motivation, which says, where I am I don't like. I don't like what I've done. I don't like the fact that I can't do this well, or I can't do that well. So I will list these things in my own repertoire, and then I will be constantly trying to repair those deficiencies, always assuming that I'm deficient, that there's something wrong with me, and I'm trying to fix it. And when you do that, you spend your whole life doing that. And you never arrive, because your life becomes a series of trying to get someplace else. And it is, if you follow that, if you live that, if you behave that, then what happens to you is you become a person who will always suffer from this disease called more. You always have to have more, because whenever you are getting where you want to go, let's say you want $100,000 in the bank, and you work, and you struggle, and you deny yourself, and you do all of those things, and you finally you get there. Here you are, you got $100,000 in the bank. All of this stuff over here is, of course, your life. And that is all you know. That's what you know how to, that's how you are. That is your being. That is your way of being. So that when you do get here, what you will do is say, this is not enough. A no-limit person is never operating from deficiency or from lack in their life. They're never saying, I don't have enough. Being, to me, means seeing the greatness and the uniqueness in you, and never letting anybody else convince you to the contrary. When people ask me, come on, you're always talking about being up and you're always positive and so on, you mean to tell me that you're always that way? I say, yeah, I really am. And it isn't because I'm out there doing something in an artificial way. It's an authentic response to my having gotten the junk out of me. And the junk is the way that I used to think, the way that I used to think. Think for a moment, if you can visualize right here, a clock, big clock. And the hands on the clock go from 1 to 12. The clock starts right out here with the minute hand, and it goes over towards the 3, the hour hand, minute hand. And that's the time in your life when you are moving away from yourself, from your true self. That's the time when you are trying to put other people down, trying to prove that you're bigger or better than somebody else, trying to make yourself right all the time, as opposed to being with somebody else. It's like you're moving away, and a lot of people spend a lot of time moving away from their true self, because your true self is this little child, is this beautiful little child inside of you that has only love and acceptance for everything in the world, and no dis-ease, no absence of ease. You move away towards the 3, and then you move down here this way, and you're still moving away from yourself until you hit the 6. The 6 is the point in your life, symbolically, metaphorically here, when you are the furthest away from yourself that you can be. It's the low point in your life. It's the point where many people break down, or many people break down their relationships, or they feel full of despair, they feel full of hatred, whatever it may be. And a lot of people die then. A lot of people are put into hospitals then. A lot of people have to really seek out therapy then and so on when you're at that stage. There's another part of the clock that goes from 6 to 12 that I think of as living in the light. And this is when, and see, this clock hand never can go back. It can't go back. It can only go this way. It only goes this way. As does life. It only goes this way, forward. In this period, this place between 6 and 12, that's when you start coming back to yourself. That's what enlightenment is. That's the pathway to enlightenment. When you send out that stuff that is destroying you, that is killing you in one way or another, and you move yourself back over here, and eventually you get yourself all the way back. This is the light over here. This is the place where you can't go back. You'd be tempted. You might be tempted to steal. You might be tempted to use anger. You might even slip a little bit, and you catch yourself. I can just not too long ago, there was we got a problem with our sprinkler in my home. One of the sprinkler heads is off, and if you ever seen that happen, you get a gusher going up there. And I've been wanting to get that thing replaced for the longest time. And I'm walking out of the bank, and there's a sprinkler head right there in front of the bank. Now I practically own this bank. Okay, so I'm going to go there every day, and I do a lot of business with this bank. And I'm looking at this sprinkler head. And I think, all I have to do is just unscrew this thing. It wasn't on. They'll replace it tomorrow morning. It's 98 cents or whatever. So I actually get down there, and I look, and I start turning the sprinkler. And then I start thinking, do I want this karma? Do I want to steal? Do I want to take? I know it's only a 99. And if I went into the bank, they'd probably give me one anyway if I asked them. And then I just turned it back. And I said, if I want a sprinkler head, I'll go and buy one for myself. This doesn't belong to me. It was just like a split second of weakness there or whatever. But it illustrated to me that I can't go back there. I could never. And there was a time in my life when I could have done that. I can be absolutely frank with that. I could do that. I can't go back there anymore. That's where you start. That's the place to start. Because when you get all of that out, when that's all gone, and I mean gone, and it only comes about as a result of the way that you think, so it's just changing around your approach to life, the way that you think in life. When that starts to go away, what you've become filled up with is what your natural self is, which is this loving, accepting, not fighting the universe, but instead living in it and going with the flow and all of the kinds of cliches that you've heard 1,000 times. That's the metaphor there. And you see, every time you try to go back, you can't do it. You can't do it.
And these top 10 principles that I have put together here for this program, you might want to jot down. You might want to go into your desk and just take out a little piece of paper. But I think if you practice them and look at them and see them, they come from someone who's had a burning desire, but has also been living a life in which I have felt independent of the opinions of others in terms of whether or not I should or shouldn't be doing that. There's something that I allow to consult myself, within myself, rather than looking outside to see if this is right or not. And so let me just I'll number them and I'll go through them and I'll give you some examples of them, and you decide whether they're to your liking and whether they work or not. The first of these principles came from a Vedantic scholar in the 10th century. His name was Tilopa. It's not exactly bestseller book, but it's the kind of thing that really excites me, because I think of going back 1,000 years or 2,000 years and reading what some of the greatest minds had to say and how open they were to the potentiality that each and every one of us have for greatness. And this first principle says, as Tilopa put it, have a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing. One of the central principles of my life is that no one knows enough to be a pessimist about anything. And that each and every one of us, when we close our mind to what is possible for us or what is possible for humanity, closes off the genius that resides and lives in each and every one of us.
Welcome back, everyone. So really the key here is Instead of getting in the symptom of more, and more, you want to achieve your own greatness. You want to see the destination where you want to go and enjoy the journey to that destination.
Having an open mind doesn't necessarily mean finding fault with all of the things that you've been taught by others. It means opening yourself up to the potentiality and the possibility that anything and everything is possible. So having a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing really means finding within ourselves the ability to get rid of a trait that I find so common in the contemporary world. Do you know that most people that I meet spend their lives looking for occasions to be offended? They actually are out there hoping that they can find some reason to be offended. And there's no shortage of reasons. They're out there everywhere. The way this person dressed, what this person said, they turn on their TV, they hear the news, they're offended by this. Someone used language that they didn't like, someone doesn't share the same customs that you, and people all day long. In fact, if you keep track tomorrow, you will find probably 100 reasons that you can go around being offended. But a mind that is open to everything and attached to nothing is a mind that says, I'm never looking for anything to be offended by. And that whatever anybody else out there has to say, my response to that is, that's an interesting point of view. I've never considered that before. I remember being interviewed for a morning television show, and the woman that was interviewing me said, how does it feel to be talking to audiences where people have all of these strange beliefs, these weird things that they come to? And it intrigues me, because one of the things that Emerson said is, in one of his very first essays, he says, the first thing we have to say respecting what are called new views here in New England, where we are right now, is that they are not new, but the very oldest of thoughts cast into the mold of these new times. And that was in 1842, he was speaking about that. And this woman asked me the question, she said, doesn't it offend you that there's people out there and they're talking about people using crystals to heal somebody? And I remember my response. My response was that if I've got hemorrhoids and somebody out there is convincing me that crystals are going to heal them, I'm ordering crystal chairs. Why not? I mean, all you have to do is understand something called a placebo. And what is a placebo? It's nothing more than a convincing belief. If I hand you this pill and say this pill is going to cure your arthritis, and you take it and the pill is just a sugar pill, but your arthritis disappears, I'm into buying those placebos. Where can I get some of those placebos? And it's true of everything. And it's when you think about all the things that we enjoy and what our life is like, it took people who had a mind that wasn't closed to allow us to make the progress that we've made. Progress is impossible if you always do things the way you've always done things. But the other word in this, what Tilopa said, is be attached nowhere. Be attached nowhere. Attachment really means I am deluding myself into a belief that if I can't have or if I can't do this or that thing, then somehow I'm going to become immobilized.
Hello, everyone. So it's often been said that it is the journey, not the destination, that's important. Now, why is that? And I think that's clearly illustrated here. You want to enjoy the journey to get to what you want. Everything that you want to manifest, you want to enjoy the journey. That's part of the manifestation. It's not just trying to say, hey, I want to get this, then I want more, then I want more and more and more, because you'll always suffer from that symptom of more. $10,000, well, I want $100,000. Well, I want $1 million. Well, I want this. I want to enjoy the journey that I'm going on to make that money. And that's what's going to make the difference. It's not just the money, it's actually enjoying that time. And I enjoyed this time as well. I hope you did, of that 15 soothing minutes of Dr. Wayne Dyer. I hope this helped you. If it did, make sure to subscribe, and I'll catch you in the next video.